So dear respected Siong, dear respected brother and sister in the community. Yeah. Today is Sunday, the 31st of May, 2020, and we are in the Pfingsten retreat. And in the past months, we have both our Dharma talk and retreat online. And it's very nice that YouTube have the capacity to track the viewer to see how long they stay with the Dharma talk and the meditation. And it's very interesting that 75 to 80% people, 75 to 80% of our friends will spend only from 17 minutes or less, 12 minutes. Or even 30 minutes or so, 12 minutes to around 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And the remaining 20 to 25% also will more or less remain for the whole event. So our monastic brother and sister are very fortunate when we have a chance to be together in the room, to sit together. It's difficult to go out after 12 minutes or 20 minutes, so they have the chance to listen to the whole talk. But outside in the world, it's very difficult to maintain our concentration and to be free from all the duty in order for us to enjoy a Dharma talk. Then I thought, how can I benefit friends who can only afford 12 minutes listening to my Dharma talk, or only 12 minutes of my sitting meditation? What can I do? And so the meditation that I did today, I designed so that at least in the first few minutes, you should have the awareness that you are very happy that you don't have to search for all the activity on the internet, surf the web. From this, we can see the mentality of people surfing the web. Surfing the web. Lướt sóng, lướt internet, lướt web. In Vietnamese, lướt web. It become a culture. It become a mentality in our society. We don't stay very long for any activity or anything because it does not give us enough pleasure. We want to search more for different pleasure. We listen to one song, only a few sentences or a few lines, and then we only feel bored. And we jump to the next song. We look into this website, and then only a few minutes, we didn't even finish the article. We surf to another article. And with this kind of mentality and this kind of habit energy, then for sure, in our relationship with other friends, with our family member, we cannot have a long-lasting relationship because any relationship cannot give us enough pleasure. And we are seeking for different pleasure to satisfy our thirst. Our thirst. Khát ái, our thirst. Thirst for different object of our consciousness. And so, when we practice, we go into a different direction. Instead of looking for pleasure, to satisfy our thirst, actually, we are practicing fulfillment. Fulfillment, I think that's how it's spelled. Fulfillment. Satisfaction. Satisfaction and happiness. Happiness is very different from pleasure. To enjoy the pleasure is very different from feeling being happy. Happiness is the capacity to be there, to be fully there, to experience life at that very moment fully, to its completeness, to its fullness. And that is happiness. And our life can only be fulfilled, that we have a sense of worth of living, when we can generate this feeling of being happy. If we cannot generate this feeling of being happy, then it would be a very pity when we are facing our death, because we do not feel that we have enough. The most successful moment of our life is that when we face death, we look up, we smile, and we feel happy when we are about to die. And we say, yes, I have enough. Thầy wrote a calligraphy said, I have enough. Next time when you come to our institute, please come and visit our bookshop. Perhaps there's still some copy of the calligraphy, you have enough. You can write that at your home, you have enough. If by chance we have to die, by any reason, and we have some moment to be aware, to be conscious of that event that we are going to die. And if we sit there feeling everything completely and smile, and we can tell to ourselves, yes, I have enough. I'm happy. My life is fulfilled. I don't need to search for anything more. And this is the moment that I have to let go of everything and I die. That would be a wonderful feeling. And that is why we are practicing. That's why we are looking for a spiritual path. Because we can feel fulfilled, happy, satisfied in every moment of our life. This past Sunday, the last week, the 24th of May, is my 28th birthday as a monk. 28th birthday as a monk. I was ordained on the 24th of May, 1992. And Thầy gave me the Dharma name called Pháp Ấn. Phap means Dharma, and Ấn means the seal. The discourse on the Dharma seal. And on the 20th of February 1999, Thầy transmit the Dharma lamp to me, that I become a Dharma teacher. So, lamp transmission. Lamp transmission. And in the lamp transmission, they gave me a very beautiful poem. I read it in Vietnamese and I translate briefly in English. Pháp trao giữa lúc hoa đào nở, ấm lòng muôn kiếp vẫn y nguyên. Bồ đề bóng rợp luôn che chở, vạn lý sông xa đã có thuyền. Pháp trao giữa lúc hoa đào nở. The Dharma is being transmitted in the season of cherry blossom. The Dharma is being transmitted in the middle of the cherry blossom season. Ấn lòng muôn kiếp vẫn y nguyên. The seal of the mind is there, intact, completely intact since from the beginningless of time. The seal of the mind is intact from the beginningless of mind. Bồ đề bóng rợp luôn che chở. The Bodhi tree always offer the shade to protect you. The canopy of the Bodhi tree is huge, and it can always offer the great shadow to protect you, to embrace you. Vạn lý sông xa đã có thuyền. Going 10,000 of miles on the way, you have the boat of the Sangha to protect you, to help you to travel 10,000 miles. It's a very beautiful poem, and Thầy said that is one of the best poem that he made. He's very happy. And for our friends who are going to leave soon after 70 minutes of listening to my Dharma talk, my name is Phap Ấn, and it means Dharma seal, and that's the name of a sutra. It's called the Discourse on the Dharma seal, and I enjoy that Dharma seal, that discourse very much, and that's how Thầy gave me that name. So before you leave, I read you the discourse on the Dharma seal, and then I will continue with the Dharma talk and explain about this discourse on the Dharma seal. So at least you have something to take home with. Discourse on the Dharma seal, 284. Discourse on the Dharma seal. I heard these words of the Buddha one time when the Lord were residing at Vaisali with his community of Bhikshu. One day he told the community, "Do you know of the wonderful Dharma seal? Today I would like to tell you about it and explain it to you. Please use your pure mind to listen and receive it with care and make the best effort to remember and practice it." The community of Bhikshu replied, "Wonderful word honor one. Please teach us. We will listen carefully." The Buddha said, "Emptiness is neither being nor non-being. It is free from all wrong views. It is neither produced nor destroyed, and it cannot be grasped by views. Why is this so? Because emptiness cannot be located in space. It has no form. It is not an object of perception. It has never been born, and the intellect cannot grasp it. Because it cannot be grasped, it embraces all Dharma and dwells only in non-discursive, non-discriminative wisdom. This is the only true and right understanding, Bhikshu. You should know that not only emptiness, but all Dharma are like that. This is the Dharma seal." The Dharma seal is also called the three doors of liberation. It is the basic teaching of all Buddhas, the eye of all Buddhas, the destination of all Buddha. Listen and receive it with care, memorize it well, and practice it right in the heart of reality. Bhikshu, find a quiet place to meditate, such as in a forest under a tree. There you can see that form is painful, empty, and impermanent. And as a result, you will not be attached to form. You will reach the non-discriminative understanding of form. Then do the same for feelings, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. See that they are painful, empty, and impermanent, and rise above wrong views about them. Realize the non-discriminative understanding of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Bhikshu, the five aggregates are empty. They are produced from the mind. Once the mind stops operating in its usual way, the aggregates stop operating as well. When you see this, you will be liberated, free from all view. This is emptiness, the first door of liberation. Bhikshu, dwelling in concentration, see the dissolution of form and be free from the illusory nature of perception via form. See the dissolution of sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental formation, and be free from the illusory nature of perception via sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental formation. This meditation is called sightlessness, the second door of liberation. Once you have entered this door, your knowledge will be pure because of this purity of understanding. The three defiling qualities of mind, greed, hatred, and delusion, will be uprooted. With these uprooted, you will dwell in the realm of non-discursive, non-discriminative knowledge. When you are dwelling in this knowledge, views concerning me and mine, and thus all views, no longer have the basis and the occasions to arise. Bhikshus, once you are free from the view I am, you no longer consider what you see, hear, feel, and perceive as reality, independent of your own consciousness. Why? Because you know that consciousness also arises from conditions and is impermanent. Because of its impermanent nature, it cannot be grasped either. This meditation is called wishlessness, the third door of liberation. Once you enter this door, you experience fully the true nature of all Dharma, and you no longer cling to any Dharma because you have seen the unconditioned nature of all Dharma. The Buddha told the community of Bhikshu, this is the wonderful seal of the Dharma, the three doors of liberation. If you learn and practice it, you will certainly attain pure knowledge. The monks were very happy to hear the teaching of the World Honored One. They paid respect to him and promised to learn and practice this wonderful teaching. Taiso Revised Tripitaka, number 104. Thay wrote the commentary for this discourse in the book called The Heart of the Buddha Teaching. So you can read his commentary in this book, The Heart of the Buddha Teaching. The whole text, the whole discourse on the Dharma seal, I will post it on the internet underneath my Dharma talk, so you can have a PDF copy of it and you can read it. This is wonderful teaching. That is the teaching about the nature of our mind, the nature of the mind. And it's the nature of our mind, and it's also the nature of all Dharma. That is the object of our mind. The object of our mind. And the nature of our mind and the nature of the object of our mind is emptiness. And that is the second sentence in the verse of the Lamb transmission that Thầy gave to me. Ẩn lòng muôn kiếp vẫn y nguyên. Lòng here is the heart. And ẩn lòng is the seal of the heart. Remain the same, remain intact. And what is that, the seal of the heart? That seal of the heart is the seal of emptiness. The seal of emptiness. The seal of emptiness. That is the true nature of everything. Ẩn lòng, the seal of the heart. Beautiful word that Thầy wrote. The seal of the heart. At the core of everything. What is that core of everything? What is the core within me? What is the essence within me? Is there a me? Is there an I that is buried deep within myself? Is there this deep me, deep I called Pháp Ấn? What is the nature of that I? What is the nature of that me? According to Buddhism, you look deeply into that core. You look deeply into the heart of that me. What do you find? You cannot find any identity. Just like an onion, you pulling one layer of the onion after another layer of the onion. You continue to peel it off, and at the end, you cannot find anything at the core of the onion. At the core of myself, at the essence of myself, there is not an identity called Pháp Ấn. There is not a me, an I, that I can call a Pháp Ấn, and that's called the Seal of Emptiness. And Thầy call it Ấn Lòng. Beautiful word. The heart, the seal of the heart, Ấn Lòng, the seal of the heart, is intact. We suffer because we are not able to be in touch with this deepest reality within ourselves, the reality of emptiness. We live in the outer layer of the onion. We have some artists in the Sangha. Please come and help me to draw the onion. How do we draw the onion? Imagine the onion is like this. Có ai muốn lên vẽ củ hành cho Sanh không? Hoàng Nghiêm. Muốn lên vẽ củ hành không? Hả? Vẽ giùm Sanh củ hành coi. Sister Hoàng Nghiêm is very talented. Perhaps he can help me to draw the onion. Sanh trẻ vẽ giống thái pumpkin. Cảm ơn Sam. Beautiful. Very beautiful onion. So this is the onion. Most of the time, we as human, we live on this layer. We stay on this layer. We stay on this layer. A little bit on the outside, sometimes a little bit inside, but we can never touch the core of this onion, the core of emptiness. Most of the time, we allow ourselves on the surface of the onion. And we believe that the onion have an identity, have a me, and we grasp onto it. This discourse is very deep, and we can spend like the whole week to talk about it. I have courses for the whole weekend to discuss about the discourse on the Dharma seal. It's very deep. There's many technical terms, but I can give you some of the main idea of this discourse so that you can practice. The Buddha first proclaimed about our true nature, about the core of our existence, the heart of that core. What is the heart of that core? The heart of that core is our true emptiness. Not only ourselves, but all of the Dharma around us. everything that we get in touch with, their true nature is emptiness. We suffer because we believe that there is an identity. We construct the identity out of this core of emptiness. We construct the Dharma and we construct our mind. Our mind is a construction, and all of the Dharma that we perceive are the construction of our mind. If we practice deeply, nothing is there, true emptiness. The teaching is so deep because this teaching has the capacity to liberate all of our suffering, all of our difficulty, and we can be completely free. And the moment we can give birth to this deep wisdom of true emptiness, then at the same time, true compassion arises within us. Deep compassion will arise from within us. The moment true emptiness is something that we can experience, then we can, from the depth of our being, there's arise true compassion, deep compassion, because we understand the nature of the reality and we feel so much compassion for everything that we are in touch with, because everyone is suffering. Everyone is drowned in their own constructing world of the mind. We construct our mind, we construct the object of our mind, the Dharma. And we think that it's real. We think that is the absolute truth, and we suffer so much. And from this construction, there comes so many fear. Fear is a construction of the mind due to the three poison. We want to grasp onto the thing, we want to deny things, or we don't understand about the things we are in touch with. Because of these three poison, there comes fear. Fear in Buddhism is a constructing mental formation based on these three poison of greed, hatred, and delusion. Nowadays in the world, there is so much fear because of the outbreak, the coronavirus outbreak. There is an economical fear, political fear, the fear of health. There's so much fear because all of these fears are constructed on the perception that there is a self, there is a reality. But all of this reality, according to Buddhism, is a construction from the mind. Its true nature is the nature of emptiness. The Buddha gave a very deep teaching. When the conditions are sufficient, things manifest. When the conditions are not sufficient, things cease to manifest. And if we understand this teaching deeply, then we can be very free. We can live our life with so much freedom and accept the situation when things happen. Right now there is the coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-2, SARS-CoV-2. But in addition to this virus, right now in our world, there is 11 other very dangerous virus. And not only that, there are other danger around us. There are so many conditions, dangerous conditions that is out there. But if we allow ourselves to be burdened by all of these conditions, fearful, dangerous conditions, then we will destroy our life completely. We are afraid of coronavirus. We are afraid of the HIV virus. We are afraid of Ebola virus, Rabies virus, many other viruses that is going on now on the world. What we can do is to live the best of our life, do whatever we can, but then we also allow our heart to be open for different things to happen. And in case that we have to die because of the coronavirus, our practice is to see that there is no self. Our practice is to learn to see the core of emptiness. There is not a me that's passed away. There is not an I that's passing away. The most painful thing is not the fact that we pass away, but the most painful thing is we think that there's me, that who is now passing away. That is the most painful thing. But dying is a process that we all have to go through in our life, sooner or later. We can die the next moment because of any condition, or we can die 20 years, 30 years from now. The fact of dying is a very natural process. Is a very natural event of our life. What is most painful is that we perceive that there is a me, there is an I, and we cannot let go of this perception about me, about I, and to be free when we pass away. So the teaching on the Dharma Seal, the discourse on the Dharma Seal help us to penetrate into the core, into the heart of the reality, and to see that everything is true emptiness. We are of the nature of true emptiness. And everything that we perceive around us, their nature is the nature of emptiness. It is our mind that constructs the reality, construct the Dharma around us. We live on the surface of the onion and we believe that the onion is real, and we interact based on this perception, and we cause so much suffering for ourselves and for the people around us. The discourse on the Dharma Seal offer 3 practices so that we can touch this insight, this wisdom. The first practice is called the practice of emptiness. Again, emptiness. From the Dharma Seal, from the true emptiness, This is the insight. From this insight, there's come 3 practices that help us to touch this insight. The first practice is the practice of letting go. And you can think of this practice as the practice of mindfulness training. That is in Vietnamese, giới. That is the first practice, letting go. Most of the time, we have the tendency to grasp on things and deny things according to our own need, according to our own preference. But the practice is to learn to let go and to to have the mind of equanimity, the mind of equal. So that is the first door of liberation. The first door of liberation is learn to let go. And that is the practice of mindfulness training. We learn to restrain ourselves and we learn to let go of this tendency of choosing, of selecting things, but letting go. I read this part, the first door of liberation. Bhikshu, find a quiet place to meditate, such as in a forest under a tree. There you can see that form is painful, empty, and impermanent. And as a result, you will not be attached to form. You will reach the non-discriminative understanding of form. And then do the same for feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. See that they are painful, empty, and impermanent, and rise above wrong views about them. Realize the non-discriminative understanding of feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. Bhikshu, the five aggregates are empty. They are produced from the mind. Once the mind stops operating in its usual way, the aggregate stops operating as well. When you see this, you will be liberated, free from all views. This is emptiness, the first door of liberation. The idea from this practice is that we learn to let go. We learn to let go of the tendency of grasping based on our discriminative thinking. We have the tendency to think, this is good, this is bad. We have the tendency to think, this is good, this is bad. And we have the tendency to choose. In our normal daily life, that's what we do. It is necessary. In Buddhism, we have two dimensions called the historical dimension and the ultimate dimension. The teaching on the Dharma seal concern the ultimate dimension. Ultimate dimension. When we learn this teaching, please do not feel that Buddhism teach that you have to let go everything and then you don't. Everything is good. You can do a very terrible act. For example, drinking alcohol also. Because you think it's non-discriminative thinking. Nothing good, nothing bad. So the teaching can be very confusing. Be very careful. When we say non-discriminative thinking, it means that we learn to let go But it doesn't mean that we allow ourselves to go into the bad direction. We continue to have the good behavior, good act. So there are some friends who learn about Zen, about the teaching of Zen. Mainly they talk more, they emphasize this aspect of non-discriminative thinking. Then they can have reckless behavior like drinking alcohol, smoking, and having a lot of sexual activity, and they think that they're practicing non-discriminative thinking. That is wrong. When we say non-discriminative thinking, that is learn to let go our tendency of grasping and choosing. But it doesn't mean that we don't have a sense for goodness. So be very careful. The Buddha said that my teaching can be very dangerous, like catching a snake. If you don't know how to catch the snake can turn around and bite you. So this teaching on true nature of emptiness can be very dangerous. We learn to let go. Yes, we learn to let go of the non-discriminative thinking. But it doesn't mean that we live a life without conduct. So letting go have to go along with the understanding of practicing mindfulness training, precept. Letting go, but at the same time, having a very good conduct, a good ethical conduct. So that is the first door of liberation. We learn to let go. We learn to let go. And in letting go, we are practicing to get in touch with the ultimate dimension. Ultimate dimension. In the ultimate dimension, we practice completely letting go. But on the historical dimension, we have to live our life of goodness. Our life of goodness. To reach for the goodness, to reach for the truth, to reach for the beauty. When we say letting go, it doesn't mean that everything is okay. We have to be very careful with the teaching. We have to be very careful with the dimension that we are talking about. The teaching in this discourse concerned about the ultimate dimension. Help us to touch the ultimate dimension. But please remember, we have to ground ourselves in the historical dimension so that we don't go in the wrong direction. So that is the first training, letting go. And in Buddhism, there's a concept called liberation by part. Liberation by part. In Vietnamese called biệt giải thoát. Biệt giải thoát. What it means is that when we practice letting go, we will touch a sense of being liberated. A sense of being liberated. And depending on whatever we can let go, we can have a feeling of liberation with respect to that aspect. Let's say if you drink alcohol and you learn to practice to let go of consuming alcohol, then if you are successful in practicing that, to let go of the tendency, of the desire of consuming alcohol, then you reach liberation with respect to alcohol. And that's called liberation by part. If you can let go of alcohol, but you are still caught in smoking cigarette, then you are liberated from alcohol, but you are still caught in smoking. So that's why it's called liberation by part. You can only liberate one part and another part. In this process of practicing letting go, we learn to live a life of simple, a life of going into the very healthy, good direction. And the more we can do, like we can go into that direction, then the more we can be liberated by that way of living. And that is liberation by our way of life, by the way we conduct our life. And it's part by part, slowly and slowly. The Buddha is someone who is known as a fully liberated person. So he is able to let go completely. But for us, we are not fully liberated. We are only liberated some part after another part, liberating by part, not completely. And the second door of liberation is the practice of going beyond our wrong perception, going beyond our mental construction. And many times our mental construction is our wrong perception. Going beyond our mental construction. And that is the practice of samadhi or collectedness. Or some people call it concentration. In Vietnamese, it's called định. What is collectedness? What is samadhi? Many times when we interact with any event, right away we split the reality of our experience into pieces. For example, let's say Sister Wang Nghiêm just draw an onion. She draw an onion. And then our mind look at this picture. And our mind will construct a mental formation, construct a perception about this picture. And this picture, the moment that we constructed, this perception is split from the rest. For example, this whiteboard, the whole whiteboard here. When we look at this picture of onion, we forget about the whole board. We don't see the whole board. We only see this picture of the onion. And that is called mental construction, perception. And that's what we do in our life. We have a stream of experiences. All the time, our senses, our eye, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our body, and our mind, there is a stream of experiences continuously. But most of the time, we do not allow ourselves to be with this complete stream of experience. We are caught either into one part of that stream of experience. For example, our eye. We pay attention more to our eyes, what the form that we see, but we don't listen to the sound. We don't feel our body. We don't have the taste in our mouth or the smell. We pay attention to only one particular of the object of our senses. We split the reality into pieces, and we construct our mental perception on this reality. But life is a full stream of experience. In the meditation, I invite you first to listen to the sound and relax your mind into the stream of the sound. Sometimes we listen to the stream of the sound, but then let's say there's a bird song. Then right away we pay more attention to the bird and we forget about the other sound. Or let's say there is the sound of a car rushing by. Suddenly we hear the sound of the car and then we forget about the other sound. And from these perception about the sound of the bird, the sound of the car, we develop all the perception. We construct from this true emptiness another layer of onion, another layer of onion. For example, let's say the stream of the sound, and suddenly there's a bird sound. The bird sound manifests, so it becomes another small, very small. There is this tiny bit of layer of the onion. And from this we say, oh, it's the sound of, let's say, so let's say from the sound of the bird. For example, it is a bird that you like. The sound of a bird that you like, for example. And that sound of the bird might remind you about a song, remind you about an event of your life. For example, let's say you visit EIAB and you hear the sound of the bird, and then you just This sound bring back the memory of being in EIAB, for example. And then you begin to construct different layer of the opinion, of onion. The onion. You construct from this little tiny event. You construct layer of onion after layer of onion. And it is very natural process. Let's say our friend do something. Then right away, we begin to have an image, to have a perception that, oh, she should not do that, it's not right, it's wrong. And then we continue to construct more and more perception on these behavior from our friends. We construct different layer of the onion. We make the onion become bigger and bigger. And then that's what we live, how we live our life. We go through life and we are very rich. In the Lotus Sutra, the Buddha said that we are a very rich son of the universe, a very rich daughter of the universe. We have different senses. We have the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. We are very rich. But going through life, we only allow one particular aspect of this experience to dominate our life. For example, let's say a friend do something unpleasant to us. Then we allow this feeling, the unpleasant feeling, this perception about our friend to dominate us the whole day. We become a very poor son, a poor daughter of the universe. We don't smell anymore. We don't experience our body anymore. We don't see anything else except this unpleasant feeling with our friends. So what is the practice of the second door of liberation? Is we learn to practice collectedness. Collectedness. What is collectedness? Collectedness means allowing your mind to relax and to sink into the stream of all experience. The word concentration gives a very wrong, misleading, that we concentrate on particular aspect of the experience. No. What is the practice of samadhi? The practice of samadhi is learn to go back to the core of our experience, the core of emptiness, the heart of the emptiness. We learn to go back to the heart of the emptiness. That is the practice of collectedness, samadhi. Samadhi is the capacity to relax, to allow our mind to relax and to sink into the heart of the stream of all of the experiences, and not to grasp on any particular experience and construct our mental construction out of these experiences. And that's what it means by practicing collectedness. I read this paragraph for you. Bhikkhu, dwelling in collectedness or samadhi, see the dissolution of form and be free from the illusory nature of perception vis-a-vis form. See the dissolution of sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental formation, and be free from the illusory nature of perception vis-a-vis sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental formation. This meditation is called silenceness, the second door of liberation. Silenceness. Silenceness means allow yourself to sink into the core, the heart of the experience, into the stream of the experience, and not be caught by any particular experience. For example, let's say your friends. You listen to your friends. You listen to your friends, and you learn to feel your body at the same time. You learn to listen to the sound of the bird in the background at the same time while you are listening to your friends. Then what happens is that when your friend says something unpleasant, when your friend behave in an unskillful way, you are not blown away by his or her way of action, because you are still grounded in the sound of the bird in the background. You still grounded on your sense of the body. And that's the idea of the practice, collectedness. When I went to Vietnam and negotiate with the Vietnamese government for Thay's return to Vietnam. Usually when we have power, we do not treat other people equally. And sometimes we treat them with unkindness. So to the government official, many times they have the feeling that they have power. They are in the higher position. And they do not treat us in a nice way. In 1996, during my first trip to Vietnam, I was asked to go to the police bureau. And 9 of us, 9 monks and nuns, young monks and nuns, we visit our root temple for the first time. And the policeman asked us to go to their station, and they pull out the gun, and they put it on the table. They said, if you don't listen to me, very violent. And during the negotiation with the people for Thay's trip, sometimes they try to convince me. Sometimes they try to threaten me. Sometimes they yell. Sometimes they scream. There are days that I come back and I lie on my hammock and my hand was shaking like this because I was quite fearful because of their behavior. And I have to lie down for a long time in order to calm myself down. How do I practice in those situations? I put my hand on my laps. I try to feel my lap. I rub my lap lightly, like this. Underneath the table, we are sitting at the table. They are across from the table from me, so they don't see what my hand's doing. But I put my hand on my laps and I rub my laps lightly so that I feel my body. I feel the sensation of my body while I'm listening to the policeman, so that I can root myself in another stream of experience. Sometimes I listen to the sound of the bird while I'm listening to the police talking. So I don't lose myself completely in his word, in his threat, in his domination. And that's how we practice. And that is the practice of second door of liberation. The second door of liberation helps us to release this tendency to construct a mental perception and learn to allow ourselves to return to the full stream of experience, the full stream of life that is going on right now. So the word concentration can be very misleading. It's the practice of allow ourselves to sink into the stream of the experience and not to allow ourselves to be blown away by one particular experience in this stream of experience. And that's what it means by Bhikshu dwelling in collectedness, see the dissolution of form and be free from the illusory nature of perception vis-a-vis form. The illusory nature of perception. See the dissolution of sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental formation, and be free from the illusory nature of perception vis-a-vis sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental formation. This meditation is called silenceness, the second door of liberation. This is very important to learn to go back to the completeness of life. Learn to go back to the complete stream of experience. And that's called silentness. Silentness means we don't give dominance to any particular sign. So learn to open yourself completely. Today, when you walk, you are aware of your walking. Feel your step. But at the same time, you feel your body. You listen to the sound of the bird. You feel the beautiful nature. And learn to open yourself completely to all of the stream of life. And not being caught into any particular experience. And that's called collectedness. Collectedness, because you have the capacity to collect yourself, to collect your stream of experience, the totality of your experience. The totality of experience. If you are together with the totality of your experience, you are not blown away by one particular experience, by one particular perception, by one particular behavior, because you are able to ground yourself in the totality of life. If we train ourselves like this, day after day, months after months, slowly, our mind becomes very, very calm and peaceful. And it can be dwell in the present moment, every moment. We have the capacity to be in the present moment, in the here and the now, completely. And our mind is free of any mental construction. Our mind becomes like an empty sky without any cloud. The cloud is our mental formation. And the moment we can practice the silenceness meditation, our mind is always empty, like the empty sky, completely free from any cloud. It's very, very pleasant feeling. And that is the second door of liberation. And with this second door of liberation, The last 15 minutes. Sorry. Once we train ourselves in this way, then different onion, that is the product from wrong perception that give rise to anger, to greed, to delusion, slowly can be removed. This onion of anger, this onion of greed, the onion of delusion, slowly can be removed. And that's the meaning of the fruit of the silentness meditation. Once you have entered this door, your knowledge will be pure. Because of this purity of understanding, the three defiling quality of mind, greed, hatred, and delusion, will be uprooted. With these uprooted, you will dwell in the realm of non-discursive, non-discriminative knowledge. When you are dwelling in this knowledge, views concerning me and mine, and thus all views, no longer have the basis and the occasion to arise. When we are able to train this silentness meditation all the time, throughout the day, meditation is not restricted inside the meditation hall. Meditation is a process of living, a way of living in which we can allow our consciousness, allow our mind to sink naturally into the totality of our stream of our experience. And that's meditation. That is the silentness meditation. Throughout the day, learn to root your experience in your in the form, in the sound, in the smell, in the taste, in your sensation of the body, and in your mental, into your mind. Learn to root yourself completely. Learn to experience totally as a human being. Learn to be a rich son and daughter of the universe and not being a poor son and daughter of the universe. We are very rich if we learn to live with the totality of our experience. And that is called silentness meditation. When we are able to do that, slowly, these three roots of greed, of hatred, and of delusion will be removed. Because these onions of anger and greed are based on the delusion of an I. But the moment we learn to sink ourselves into the stream of experience, the totality stream of experience, then we learn to let go of this perception of me, of a perception of I. The third door of liberation. The third door of liberation. The third door of liberation is our perspective. Our perspective. Is our perspective on the way we perceive things, on our consciousness. The perspective on our consciousness. A new perspective on our consciousness, how we perceive things. Many times we have the tendency to think that There is a subjective consciousness. There is this consciousness. There's this subjective consciousness that experience things. Deep within us, there is this subjective consciousness. There is an I. There is an identity which experience everything. There is a subject of all about experience. A subject of all about experience. A subject of our experience. There's me who's talking right now. There's I doing the Dharma talk right now. I feel very good. I'm so good. I'm a big Dharma teacher. There's me, there's I, there's a subject who's doing the talk right now. There's a subject of our experience. There's me who experience things, who interact with the world, who interact with our friends, with the relative. But if we calmly return to ourselves and we see all this stream of consciousness, the stream of consciousness is impermanence. The stream of what I experience, this subjective experience, this subjective consciousness that give a ground that I am, that me, this stream of feeling is only a delusion, is only an illusion. There is no fixed subject of the experience. If we calmly look at this subject, for example, when I give the talk, is there a subject that is talking? No, I don't think so. My mind just remember this, my mind remember that, and I'm pulling the information from this, I'm pulling information from that. I look at Sister Thường Trú, I look at Sister Thông Dong, I look at Brother Định Lực, and then it activates my mind. It activates my mind, and from this activation, things begin to come up. And become the content of my talk. From time to time, I'm aware of Thay Phap who's doing camera work. And I'm aware of the camera, and I feel a little bit awkward in the front of the camera. And all of this enter into my talk, enter into what I experience, and enter into what I share. It's a part of everything. I look at Sister Chiếu Nghiêm, Sister Trăng Huyền Diệu, Sister Nguyệt Nghiêm, Sister Giảng Nghiêm, Sister Chuẩn Nghiêm, Thầy Pháp Tri, Sister Phước Tâm, Sister Thục Nghiêm, and so on. And I try to explain what it is in my heart to these friends in English while they put on the headphone. And then, from all of these feelings, from all of the experience, come my talk. There is not such a single subject that gives the talk. But there's a stream of conscious experience that is make up. There is no particular subject. All of what we perceive, all of our conscious experience is also conditioned. They depend on the condition. The Buddha said that when the conditions are sufficient, things manifest. And this rule is also applicable to our consciousness. When the conditions are sufficient, our consciousness manifests. When the conditions are not sufficient, our consciousness ceases to manifest. Our consciousness is not different from other phenomena. And that is the third door of liberation. The third door of liberation frees us from all view concerning this subjective experience, this subjective consciousness, and we are completely free. And this meditation is called aimlessness, because it is the karma that leads us into a particular direction. With this meditation, we are able to be free from our stream of the karma. We are able to go beyond the force of the karma. The karma is the energy that have been pushing us because we are caught into this subjective experience as a me, as an I am. And because of this perception about me, about I am, birth and death become so important. We follow the stream of the karma. But the moment we can get in touch with this perception, we are so free. We are free from the stream of the karma that we have been caught into for many lifetimes. Let's read the third meditation and we end the Dharma talk. Bhikshu, once you are free from the view I am, you no longer consider what you see, hear, feel and perceive as reality independent of your own consciousness. Why? Because you know that consciousness also arises from condition and is impermanent. Because of its impermanent nature, it cannot be grasped either. This meditation is called wishlessness, the third door of liberation. Once you enter this door, you experience fully the true nature of all Dharma, and you no longer cling to any Dharma, because you have seen the unconditioned nature of all Dharma. You have seen the true core of emptiness. You have seen the unconditioned nature of all Dharma. You touch the core of emptiness. You touch the core of the onion. And you are completely free. This sutra is very deep. And the three ways of practice help us to touch the core of our experience, the true emptiness, the unconditioned nature of all Dharma. And that is the essence of the Buddha teaching. And that is the goal as a practitioner that we would like to reach. It's a bit dry Dharma talk. But I hope that you enjoy it. And happy Pfingsten Day.